Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
He's like, oh shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life. Now LeBron's a 4-time champion, and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable. So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov. That was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL rankings. We're getting back to it since the draft is over. We're doing some draft videos. Make sure to check that out. To make sure you're up to date, follow our Instagram, OO_podcast20, and then on our Twitter, OO_podcast, and that's on Twitter. So I'm Kevin, and I am joined by the Defenders, the Defender Masterer and Articulator, Austin.
That's a long title. I appreciate it, Kevin.
So I'll let you get started with your 20. This is top 20 defenders, which I did go on the name for how I ranked people. But so I think it's just all defenders. And we'll have to see what guys we leave off because we expanded it to 20, but we're adding safeties, corners, linebackers, defensive ends.
There will definitely be some bias here, some picks that you don't agree with, I don't agree with. There'll be guys that are on your board that aren't on mine. Did you do honorable mentions?
I do have a few. I wasn't thinking about them, but I do have some honorable mention guys. So, do you have any?
Yeah, I do. I have three. How many do you have?
I'll come up with three, but you can go first.
Okay, so my three honorable mentions, and these are guys that maybe because of injuries or something else happened, I don't necessarily know, hey, are they going to be as good next year, or maybe because of age or some other stuff. But my first honorable mention is a Packers guy, Jair Alexander. I'm extremely high on him. I'd love to see how much he's improving. My second is Matt Milano, the outside linebacker for the Bills. And then my third is Javon Hargrave, the defensive tackle for the Eagles.
All right. So one of my honorable mentions is Quandre Diggs, great corner. Just tough to. I don't really have a lot of corners on here. So he's there, and then DeForest Buckner. I think he's a good defensive tackle, but he's just not here. And then my third guy is, I believe it's the Bears linebacker. Not TJ Edwards, but the linebacker from the Bills. Tremaine Edmonds. I think he's a great linebacker.
Okay, yeah, I was completely lost for a second.
But yeah, it's just tough to put him on the list. So yeah, I'll let you say your 20.
So my 20 is Brian Burns. He had a great year last year, and he's just a great player. He's extremely underrated. He's been a Pro Bowler the past 2 years. He's a great defensive end, one of the best in the league. And yeah, he's my number 20.
Yeah, he's not on my list, but yeah, that's a really good one. My 20 is Cameron Hayward. He's older, but I think he's a good run blocker and a really good defensive presence for that Pittsburgh D-line.
Yeah. So who's your 19?
19 is Joey Bosa. If he's healthy, he's probably higher. But he just struggles with health, and he's such a great passer. But if I can't rely on my defensive lineman to be healthy, that's a problem for me.
Yeah, that's understandable. He's not on my list. I've kind of fallen out of. I don't know his issues on the field and off the field, whether it's injuries or him screaming at the refs and getting fined, or I just don't know how much he's contributing positively to the team currently. But he is a great talent. My number 19 is a guy that came out of nowhere last year, Tenaloa Hufunga, the safety from San Francisco. He is extremely talented. And again, these are top 20 defenders for next year, and I think he will easily be that.
That's good. So he's your 18?
He's my 19, and I go to
Okay.
my 18.
Gotcha.
My 18, you just mentioned him, Cam Hayward. His importance to that Steelers team when TJ Watt was hurt cannot be overstated. That defense should have fell apart. They as a team should have completely self-combust, but they didn't, mainly because he could stop the run game and give pressure when necessary.
All right. So my 18 Shaquille Barrett, torn ACL. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect him in the season, but he's a great pass rusher. And he's just been fantastic for that Bucks defense, but he's low on here because of the injury. Then my 17 is Derwin James. He's such a great safety, but he only played 14 games last year. There's another safety who played all games, and that's a big thing to me. And so Derwin James is my 17.
So you're ranking him lower because, again, this is for next year, and you think he may get hurt.
Yeah, and in the past he struggled with injuries, so to me that's a thing.
That's fair. I don't have him on my list, so I was just, and that's part of the reason is I don't know how many games he's going to play. So if I'm ranking best players for next year, he doesn't play next year because he gets hurt in preseason or something. He can't be worth as much.
Yeah, he's such a great athlete though, and that I really want that in my safeties, and he's a ball hawking safety. It's just when he's not there, you can tell he's not there.
So you did 17, right? You did 18,
Yes.
17? Okay, so my 17 is Patrick Surtain. One of the best corners in the league. Was a part of one of the best defenses in the league, even though his team didn't make the playoffs. We won't talk about that one. But he's an extremely young and great corner, and I'm excited to see how he improves next year. The next guy, I feel like he gets underrated all the time, and he's extremely, extremely important to a Tampa defense that really almost fell apart, and that's Lavonte David. Lavonte David is a leader on a Bucs team next year that is going to be noticeably worse, probably. And I believe he's the cornerstone because Devin White has struggled recently. Shaq Barrett hurt. So he's really that only guy in the middle to kind of hold things together. He, in the same effect of Cameron Hayward holding the defense together, Lavonte David did the same thing this past year.
He's your 15?
He's my 16.
Okay, because you and I agree. I have Lavonte David at 16.
Wow. I did not expect we were going to agree on one.
No, I was thinking, I was like, all right, Austin's going to mention these guys. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have him in my top 20. But I thought you were going to have him a little bit higher. But yeah, he's a great linebacker. And he's one of the few linebackers on this list. Or traditional linebacker, not a pass rushing linebacker.
That's fair. Who is your 15?
My 15 is Kevin Byard. This is a safety. He played all 17 games. I think he just doesn't get a lot of recognition with the Titans, but I think he's a solid safety. And not more of a hard-hitting safety, but more of a defensive back who can make some key plays and key interceptions.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pick. Mine, another Pittsburgh guy, a guy that's extremely underrated, someone that had 14 and a half sacks last year, Alex Highsmith.
Oh, okay.
He's someone that is not getting any hype at all. But I think pairing him with TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, do we know if he's coming back? I know he was talking about retirement, maybe.
I haven't heard anything saying he's not coming back.
Okay, that's kind of how I've gone about it as well. But he also, Alex Highsmith, led the league in forced fumbles with 5. He had a great year last year. 14 and a half sacks, like I said, 5 forced fumbles. He played all 17 games, like you said. That's extremely important, especially with injury concerns with TJ Watt. So if you pair those two together, and then you have Cam Hayward, that's a dangerous D-line. And then
what were we going to say?
No, you go.
I thought you were going to say Minka. I was going to be like, Minka's not on my list. I forgot about Minka.
Oh, we'll get to Minka.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot about him. Man. That was the thing also with this list. Like, I forgot guys. So.
Yeah. My number 14, because I believe it's my turn, is Hassan Reddick. What a year last year. 16 sacks. A great year for a dominant Philadelphia team. He was a menace on a defense that was incredible, and I think he'll be great next year.
Man, I forgot about him too. So tough. Yeah, it's tough with 20, so I'm sure we're going to leave off guys. So I do 14, 13.
Yep.
Okay, my 14 is just a rookie, but he's a fantastic corner, and that's Sauce Gardner. I think he's just a lockdown corner. Guys don't throw to him. I'm not sure how many picks he got this year, but he's just locking that guy, locking those teams down. And that's something that is incredible. And I'm looking at he only had 2 interceptions. But
Interceptions aren't everything.
yeah, there are some guys who, if they get more interceptions, it's how I view him differently. But he's just a guy where he's going to lock down that wide receiver, and no one's going to throw to him. That's why he doesn't get interceptions. So that's why he's there. But then 13 is a guy you've been talking about a ton, and that's linebacker Fred Warner. I don't have him as high on this top 10, but I wanted him close to the top 10 because he's a great defender. It's just there are some other defenders who I think have more of an impact. He's a great coverage linebacker. He made a great play when defending CeeDee Lamb. It's just these other guys ahead of him, I think, have a more defensive impact.
Okay. Yeah. It's hard when you play with such a great defense. Was that your 13?
Yes.
Okay. My 13 is Myles Garrett. He's a great player. He gets overshadowed because he plays in Cleveland still, and they are struggling as a team, but he's still extremely dominant. And then my 12, a guy that we were both going to have on this list, I was never worried, Sauce Gardner. What a corner. I mean, he is already up there for one of the best corners in the league.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So now my 12 is a guy you had an honorable mention. I thought it was going to be on the list. Jair Alexander. I think he's a great corner. He's one of those guys that doesn't get a lot of interceptions. He just locks down the guy. And I think he's done it a little bit longer than Sauce Gardner. That's why I wanted him above Sauce. And then 11 is a guy I'm a huge fan of. I'm sure pretty divisive on this. This is Trevon Diggs. He's one of those guys where he's going to impact the game with an interception. He's gotten better in coverage. He takes less risk, but risk is going to be a part of his game. So I just think he's a great defender and a great playmaker. And if you can get an interception on defense, he's one of the guys I would trust.
I actually have him higher than you do.
Oh, okay.
So you just did 11, correct?
Yes.
So my number 11 is Max Crosby, a guy who I think could be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, paired with Tyree Wilson now on the Raiders. That's going to be a dangerous defense. I'm excited to see how he grows as a player now with more help on that D-line. And then my number 10, you just mentioned him, Trevon Diggs. His ability to grow after what I thought he was one of the worst corners in the league the year before. I don't care about picks. He gave up the most yards in the league by far, not close, most touchdowns. It was either he was playing wide receiver as a corner. Can you agree with that, Kevin?
Yeah, that's fair.
But his ability to make sure that he could grow as a player and become what now is a very, very talented corner, one that I think is one of the best in the league. He didn't allow as many yards. He only had 3 picks last year compared to 11 the year before, but he's a better player. He's a better player.
I do agree on, like, he was playing wide receiver. He was making a lot of plays. I don't think he was a terrible corner. I think he was a good corner that year. He's better this past year. And I'm looking forward to how he does this year. Because I think defensive help is going to be something that will help him. Because which side are you going to go on now? But yeah, you and I basically flip-flop. Trevon was my 11. 10 is Max Crosby for me. Many of the reasons you said. I really like his defensive presence. And disclaimer, a lot of my top 10 are pass rushers because I think they, as defenders, have a huge impact on the game. They rush the passer. Corners can still play well, but a lot of it's with the pressure. And this guy does get pressure, but he also stops the run, which is key, and that's Vita Vea for the Buccaneers. He's just a humongous human being, but he's 346 pounds, but he's just devastating. He's so hard to block, and I think he has a key. He really helps that defensive game plan for the Bucs because he'll take up maybe 2 blockers per snap. just of his size, but he's also a fast player, so that's why he's my 9.
My 9 is he plays like a traditional linebacker in my opinion, and that's Roquan Smith. The trade the Ravens got him, and I believe they extended him, so that Ravens team will be good next year as long as they can make sure they don't trade Lamar because if something else happens. But Roquan Smith with the Bears was on an island by himself at times, being the only good defensive player as injuries and other stuff happened to the rest of the team. But he's a very, very talented guy.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
then-
Yeah.
It's my number 8 is Minka. We finally got to him. He is, in my opinion, the second best safety in the league, and that Steelers team is so impressive.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I added him. I also forgot about Roquan Smith. I was mostly focusing pass rushers, and then some secondary guys. So my 8 it's probably a little bit lower, but Von Miller. He's such a great pass rusher, and he's dealing with injuries, but his level of pass rushing is incredible. That's why he's higher than the other pass rushers that I had. When he's on his A game, he's a destroyer, even with his age. So that's why he's at my 8. Then my 7, this is a corner where I think he had a down year last year, but he does some of the both worlds. He can cover a guy, but it also makes some defensive plays and get some picks. And that's Jalen Ramsey. I think he's someone I would hope Trevon Diggs gets close to, where he can still devastate the game, but he's not getting burned, even though he did get burned last year a couple of times.
Yeah, I don't have who'd you mention before, Jalen Ramsey?
Von Miller.
Yeah, I don't have Von Miller or Jalen Ramsey in my list. Von Miller's age is concerning me, and I don't know how Ramsey's going to slide over with the Dolphins. My number 7 is Quinnen Williams. The Jets defense is getting better and better and better, and he's joining his teammate here in Sauce Gardner, and he's a great D lineman. My number 6, I know he's been hurt, but this dude is amazing, and it's TJ Watt. We can't forget about TJ Watt. There's a lot of these guys I'm just realizing now on the same team. Like I have Hayward and Minka and TJ Watt. And then for the Jets, I have Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. And then for the Cowboys, I have Trayvon Diggs, and eventually another guy will be listed.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, that's really good. So my 6 is Myles Garrett. You said him. I think he's a dominant pass rusher. It's just there really aren't that many compliments to him. So that's why the Browns defense struggles. But he's really lived up to that status. Number 5 for me is Chris Jones. I think he's a good pass rusher. He helps a little bit in the run game, but he really helps that Chiefs pass rush. And he's also a large person. I think he's above 300 pounds. Man, so it gives me his height, not his weight.
Who again? Who?
Chris Jones. Yeah, he's at 310. But he gets to the passer so well. So that's why he's at my 5.
I don't know how I missed him off my list. I don't know how I did. I literally put him down on should have, and I just didn't put him. I guess he'll be an honorable mention for me, but he is a incredible player.
Yeah, it's so tough with 20 defenders, but you're adding a lot of defenders, so it's tough.
Was that your 5?
Yeah, he was my 5.
My 5 is Fred Warner. Someone you already mentioned. What a linebacker. Best linebacker in the league outside of one guy we'll get to. And then my number 4, Justin Simmons. He is the best safety in the league. It's not really close. I know he played 12 games last year, and that hurts him, but he still made second team All-Pro only playing 12 games. He led the league in picks with 6, only playing 12 games. He's such a remarkable safety, and any team that could get him and keep him healthy. He's been healthy for the rest of his career. He had 17 games, 16 games, 16 games, 16 games all the years before that. So I trust that he'll stay healthy in his Denver defense, which also, again, Patrick Surtain, that's 2 for the same team again. I believe they'll be very, very good.
Yeah, he's a guy I don't have on my list. It's tough because, yeah, I think I've said it's tough too many times. So it's difficult to think of guys and with this, but it is a fun strategy. But another pass rusher for me, you mentioned him earlier, T.J. Watt. Even with the injuries, he's still an incredible player. What a defensive playmaker he is. So yeah, I think even with the injury risk, I still had him have this high because when he's on the field, he's incredible. And then my number 3 is the defensive player of the year, Nick Bosa. Great. He struggled with injuries, but he's a great pass rusher. It's just the two above him, I think, have more of an impact on the game.
And then your 3?
My 3 is Nick Bosa.
Oh, yeah. My 3 is Aaron Donald. Donald he did not have a great year last year. And I don't know how much. Yeah, I don't think this is an unfair question. I don't know how much I want to say this the right way. I don't know how much he wants to play football anymore. He's threatened retirement twice. So I don't know how dominant he can be without that extra motivation. Because when he has that extra motivation, he's the best player, arguably, including every position. But if you get what I'm saying, threatening retirement twice does not make it seem like you want to play football.
Yeah, and it may just be the leaks. I think he's taken it a year at a time because of just how much he works. Because he is such a physically dominant. Have you seen the clip of when he was on an interview with DK Metcalf? Have you seen this?
Yeah.
And
the one where they're like talking about how much they bench press. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I bench like 300, and then Aaron Donald's like, I bench 500, and you see DK Metcalf's eyes go, what?
Yeah.
Dang, man.
I mean, it's just Donald had 5 sacks last year, and again, I think he'll be great. I think he'll be fine, but he only played 11 games. He definitely should not have made the Pro Bowl. Him having 5, TJ Watt shouldn't have made the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl's a joke. I probably shouldn't even talk about the Pro Bowl because it's a sick joke. But I just don't know. Oh, the next 2 guys I feel like are extremely motivated, and I don't know how motivated Aaron Donald is after winning a Super Bowl and threatening retirement twice.
Yeah, it's fair. So who's your 2?
My 2 is Nick Bosa. You just mentioned him. He is an incredible player. He just doesn't impact the defense as much as my 1.
I like that. My number 2 is Aaron Donald. So I guess we did have the same number 1 pick. I was going to be curious because this is how
I said I think we'll agree. I said I think we'll agree at the top.
Well, it is Micah as my number 1. But here's the thing: we're doing best defenders. It's not best pass rushers, not best linebackers. It's best defenders. And to me, Micah is just so versatile and dominant in multiple positions. That's what makes him the best defender.
I agree 100%. The fact that sometimes you can play him as a middle linebacker, because the Cowboys did, or play him as a D tackle, as sometimes they did.
He's played slot corner in 1 snap and against Terry McLaurin, and he did not lose.
I honestly feel like you could put Micah anywhere on the field for a play, and it would work out. And that versatility, like I said, Nick Bosa is a great player. Nick Bosa is a better pass rusher than Micah Parsons, but he's not a better player. He's not a better defender. And Micah is easily, in my opinion, I thought he should have won Defensive Player of the Year last year just because of how much he impacts the game. The stats don't show all. As someone who watched a lot of Cowboys games, the numbers do not speak to how much Micah impacts the game. He is otherworldly impact. I don't think I've ever seen a player who's played as many positions as he had and stayed as consistently great.
Yeah, that's true. And I did think he tailed near the end, but maybe that's something he learns from. So next year he might even be better and finally get that Defensive Player of the Year. You and I had the same 3 guys. It was just different order on Donald and Bosa. I think I'm still going to give Donald the benefit of the doubt. He's just so quick and so devastating. That's why I put him up above Bosa, but next year it could flip-flop. Micah is just incredible, and I'm really happy the Cowboys have 2 great defenders on their team.
Yeah. It's just the fact that the Cowboys aren't getting far. Again, I have 2 top 10 defenders. I have Trayvon at 10 and Micah at 1. If you 2 top 10 defenders, you should be making the playoffs every year.
That's true. Well, they have made the playoffs.
Well, I mean, go past I'll say they should be more consistent than they are in the playoffs. Because all these
Yeah.
other teams, Nick Bosa has made it to the Super Bowl. Aaron Donald has made it to the Super Bowl. Justin Simmons has only had 1 year on a good team because he played for the Broncos when they were after Peyton Manning, and last year he was hurt. Fred Warner has made the Super Bowl. TJ Watt has made the AFC Championship game back when Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown was still on the team. Quinn Williams just got good and just got Aaron Rodgers. Minka, he's still young. Roquan Smith, he just got to the Ravens. So most of the guys in the top 10 are making it much further. Now, you could take that as that's why they're so good, or that's why we rate them so high, is because they play in those big games. But we'll have to see if the Cowboys can improve, because losing in the divisional round every year is getting a little bit annoying.
Oh yeah, it is. But yeah, we'll save that conversation for another day. Those are our top 20 defenders. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening to our show. Make sure to keep updated. I think I mentioned that at the beginning, so follow that. And we appreciate all the love. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.